Welcome to the I Just Feel Like podcast, where we drop new audio every Tuesday morning and new videos every Tuesday evening. I'm Ramona.
And I'm Mary.
And welcome to the I Just Feel Like podcast. Let's drink to that.
Oh, yes. Let's cheers. So, today, what do we want to talk about, girl? How has your week been? Have you been up to anything new, watching anything new, reading anything new, or listening to anything new as well?
I'm currently reading Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime.
Oh, okay. Shout out South Africa.
Yes, shout out South Africa. It is hilarious. It was during the revolution. I'm obviously going to butcher this, but it's called apartheid.
No, because last time I tried to say it, you guys made fun of me, so I'm not saying it, bro.
Fam, they were ripping me, so I just gave up completely. I think it's just called apartheid. Yeah. If I butcher it, correct me.
Apartheid.
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 Apartheid. So, yeah, apartheid.
So, yeah, I think
it's apartheid.
One of those.
But yeah. So long story short, the book basically is an insight on Trevor's life, because during the time his mother ended up in a relationship with a white man. I wouldn't even really call it a relationship. Mm-hmm. It was a relationship, but it was a transactional relationship. And yeah, she wanted to have a child, and he couldn't really commit to that, of course, because during the time you could not do anything outside of your race. Like, you couldn't have sex outside your race. You couldn't be in a relationship outside your race.
Those goddamn people.
So yeah, he was technically born a crime because it was illegal at the time. And yeah, it's just the trials and tribulations of his life. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, because he does a 1-2 joke.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's definitely a better writer than comedian, and the reviews follow up with that as well. So if you want to laugh, if you're balling up, taking your time to just chill out, you definitely want to tune into something like that, because it's good shit.
Okay, I like that, fam. I might have to check it out, honestly.
Definitely.
But I know he hosted the Grammys. I wasn't really a fan still. I feel like he tried to make a 1-2 joke, and I was just like, they weren't hitting. They weren't at all.
So, it goes back to the point. Still, he's a better writer than comedian.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's true still.
And what about you, sis? What are you reading currently?
So right now I'm reading a book called The Kabbalion.
Okay.
So basically it's a book about laws about the universe from these 3 initiates from he's it's Hermetic philosophy. So they get all these laws from Hermes Trismegistus. I don't know how to say his name. I don't know how to say his name. But basically he's from the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian ancient god Thoth. Okay. It's both of them is together. So basically it's just about laws about the universe. So they talk about vibration, polarity, all things like that. I recently just started it, so it's good. It's going good though so far.
Okay, so what's the most interesting thing that you've read in the book so far?
I think, the first chapter is about the all is in the all and the all is in the all. So basically it's about how when we say God or source or whatever people say, it talks about how the all is the mind and it's within you instead of just somebody that's up in the air or whatever. So it's about the all kind of manifested this reality with its mind instead of
Oh, that's some deep shit.
It's interesting. Still, I won't lie. It's interesting. So it just talks about how how I always say we're God.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
So it talks about how God is within you instead of something that is outside.
Okay.
And how you're God as well, because that is the mind that he created. Well, I don't want to say genderless, but
the entity.
Yeah, the entity. That is what he created. He manifested this whole reality basically. So everything is within the mind. None of this is real. It's an illusion. It's all our mind.
Wow.
It's interesting. I won't lie. I'm still reading it, so I'll definitely come up with some updates next week.
Yeah, let me know how that goes, because I might want to even watch that or read that myself.
Okay, period. I'll send it off to you, sis, when I'm done.
Okay,
but yeah, it's definitely interesting. You guys check it out if you're into stuff like that.
For sure.
But yes, there are some things that did happen this week.
Yes, many things.
Many. We're gonna discuss. So the Super Bowl happened. Yes, I don't really watch football, but I did place a bet, so I did watch the game. But of course,
who did you bet on?
I betted on the Eagles because that quarterback is fine as hell.
Can we get names?
His name is Jalen Hurts.
Hurts.
Yeah. Search him up. Says he's fine. I think he's 98 as well.
Oh, he's young.
Yeah, and they almost won, but they didn't. The Kansas City Chiefs won. He's fine, ain't he?
He does not look like a 98, but then again, you know, people in the States, you guys have something in the water.
There's something there still.
Y'all look grown and y'all young as hell.
Just the football body, you know, just gives.
Yeah. It's giving dad, but you know, I can see it.
Yeah, so I seen that he was the quarterback, so I'm like, you know what, let me place a quick bet on him. Like, I feel like he deserves this Super Bowl championship.
Because he's fine.
Exactly.
Love the rationale.
But I definitely lost the bet, but whatever. I definitely tuned in though for the Rihanna performance. Most importantly, Riri is back. How do we feel about it?
Honestly, I missed Rihanna because I enjoy her music, but you know, there's lots of allegations with Rihanna. You know, I don't want to get into it.
Here you go.
Into it, but you know, people do believe that she's a part of the Illuminati.
I don't know about all that, honestly. I just feel like people look too deep into performances sometimes. Sometimes it's just regular dancing. Like they were saying there's symbolism and everything, but
the symbolism is so apparent and the patterns of how it goes down is just like so obvious. It's so in your face. You can't turn away. It's just like how these things keep happening in sequence. It's not ironic anymore, fam. Something is going on.
I can agree that there is some sort of secret society group, but like I don't know if Riri's a part of that. And I don't even want you to mention Beyonce as well, but Beyonce, forget all of that. Let's get to her performance. Yeah, did you watch the performance? Did you watch the performance?
I did in the beginning. Like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay.
I feel like honestly the stage looks so nice. Like,
oh yeah,
it was so nice. But her performance, I don't know. I think the big part of the performance was her, of course, revealing that she's pregnant. Congratulations, girl.
Congratulations, Riri.
Even though we wanted a tour low key. But I don't know. I feel like the energy was kind of lacking. I feel like she wasn't dancing as much. I really like the set list of like the song choices that she picked. Yeah. But her actual performance, I don't know. To me, it was kind of dead. No shade. I feel like she should have had a guest. And I'm giving her a pass because she's pregnant, of course.
She's pregnant and she's been out the game for a while.
You know, it's her comeback. But I don't know. It's the Super Bowl, you know? You got to go big or go home.
It's true. You should have been rehearsing since last year. Yeah. You had your notice. No excuses.
But definitely because she's pregnant. But I feel like she should have had a guest. Like, a guest could have compensated for that. But it was all right. It was nice still seeing her.
Yep. Shout out Riri.
Yeah, but after that, there was some controversy happening, fam. Yeah, like all over Twitter, TikTok, Instagram as well. So basically, Rihanna posted a picture of her son, which he's so adorable.
So cute.
Yeah, literally so adorable. But she captioned it, "My son is so fine." So the girlies on Twitter, they were coming for her because, I don't know, some people think that's inappropriate to say about your child. What do you think about that?
Calling your child fine, eh? I think the world just sexualizes everything. And because of the way we are just known as like a whole society to interpret something, we also automatically assume that that's exactly what she means. Like she's sexualizing her kid. But I feel like that is what the context of the word is, but I don't feel like she was suggesting that. I feel like she meant to say her son was handsome, but instead she said, my son is so fine, you know, like he's about to be like a woman's, what's the word?
Like a womanizer?
Yeah, he's about to be a womanizer when he grows up and all this shit. So I guess it led into that, but I don't believe that she was really suggesting that.
No, I don't think she meant it intentionally, but even like that thought process, it's just like, why are you thinking about your kid being a womanizer when he's just a baby, you know?
Yeah.
To me, it just makes no sense why she said her son was fine. I feel like she should have just said, my son is so beautiful, or like, look at his eyes, look at his features.
Handsome.
Yeah, like, but fine. Like I just said, I said Jalen Hurts is fine, and that's a grown ass man, you know? So I don't know if I'm going to be like, oh, that baby's so fine. Like, I don't see a baby on the street like, yo, that baby's fine.
Yeah, you think about it now, it's sticky.
Yeah, like imagine if somebody called your nephew fine, you know?
I know. I'd be like, what do you mean he's fine?
Do you want a box or what?
That's so true because I have heard somebody refer to my nephew as sexy.
Whoa,
I swear to God. I swear to God.
No, they need to go to prison.
Yes, but I obviously knew like the context in which they were trying to put it in. Like he's very handsome, but at the same time, it's just like language. We are in the West. Language is everything here.
It's a little bit too weird. Like the sexualization of children is too much, and people just think it's nothing using those terms, but it means something, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like the backlash, I hope she took something from it, but you already know Riri. She doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, she's body gallery for a reason.
Yeah, she
but,
was commenting on other people's Instagrams like, yo, it's my son, like, leave me alone, da da da, which I can understand, but I don't know. I think constructive criticism is needed as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's like you can still say something and not have that exact meaning behind it, but you just need to be socially aware for the sake of other people.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she is an influencer, so it should be easy to just grasp. So
Yeah,
hopefully she does.
things.
Yeah.
But she probably isn't. But it's okay. Her son is still beautiful regardless.
Per as Rihanna would say, her son is fine.
Yeah. And wishing her a safe labor and delivery for her next kid.
Hopefully she hears this.
Yeah. She will. But in Toronto news, what has been happening, sis?
So as you know, last week as we were editing, guys, Mary seen something pop up on her Twitter.
I was like, wait, is this real? Yeah. So the news broke. You know, Twitter is like a newspaper now.
Of course.
But the news broke that John Tory was having an affair with a 30-year-old.
To blood clots.
And for reference, he is a 70-year-old man. And the lady was one of his staff members.
Do you know her position exactly?
Oh, I don't. But she is one of his staff members.
Oh.
Yeah, and he is resigning for this situation.
Oh my God.
Do you feel like that situation is big enough for him to resign?
Honestly, I feel like it was a setup because having an affair doesn't really have anything to do with society. It can obviously be a misrepresentation of your character, but I feel like how you run a country and what you do in your personal life are two separate things. But because he has built a foundation around the things he says that revolve around family, ties, commitment, it just looks like you're a fraud altogether. So I feel like he was embarrassed, and the shame of that just made him be like, yo, fuck this altogether, bro.
Yeah. I feel like they also probably told him you have to resign, so there's no choice.
Oh, 100%. In fact, I think it was a setup. Who's sleeping with a 70-year-old?
I mean, there are some girls out here that will sleep with a 70-year-old, but you know, for the bag.
And in short, the bag is a setup.
Like, yeah, exactly. But do you think that age gap is wild?
70 to 30?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. If you're old enough to give birth to the person, you need to stop.
Damn.
You need to stop.
So age is just not a number.
No. There's so much significance. You grow at different stages, learn at different stages. You're mentally developed at different stages. And I will not take away obviously women develop faster than men, scientifically proven. So because of that, of course, I can see how a lot of older men could date younger women. But 30 years, it's like, buddy.
Yeah, it's a drag still.
Yeah, like you're
unless it's for a bag. I definitely do support getting the bag always. But that's completely up to you, because at the end of the day, they're two consenting adults. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter the age. What's disrespectful is how he disrespected his family, because I think he was with his wife for like bare years. Like, I think maybe even 30 plus years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So to just publicly embarrass your family like that and your wife, oh my God, I don't even know what I would do.
And it's just like, you see, it's a power trip, to be honest, because it's like, yo, you've been married for so long. You're old as fuck. You could have already been having sex with so many women at the ages of 40, 50. By the time you hit 70, it should just be like, oh, I'm trying to wind down.
No, exactly.
Get my body licked up by my 70-year-old wife. And that's about it. Like,
I'm dead. But I also feel like at least respect your wife enough to keep that shit under wraps.
Oh, yeah.
Like, where the NDAs, bro? If you're cheating, at least respect your wife to not let her find out still.
That's why I feel like it was a setup, you know? People in the office were probably like, yo, you know, something's going on at home with him and the wife and blah, blah, blah. Probably manipulated the situation and then boom.
Yeah. That's so true, honestly.
Set the bag on him.
Well, Toronto, we're getting a new mayor. We got to see. The election is in October.
Re-election will be coming up. John Tory was a part of the progressive conservative side. So if you guys don't really fuck with his political views, I personally feel like he's an asshole. He doesn't really do anything for the city. He talks about mental health, but instead of actually putting more resources into mental health, instead he puts police officers on the train to stop violence. It's like, buddy, what are you really doing?
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And taking the man was having the affair with the girl during quarantine when all mans were locked down. So that man was getting pumped when he told us to be in our yard.
Yeah, well, but
disrespectful.
You already know how these leaders are. They're hypocrites. They want you to follow something that they can abide by. And that's why it's fucked the political agenda.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucked up. But, politics is always fucked up.
Yeah, 100%.
What can we do? But speaking of family, it is Family Day weekend here in Toronto.
Boop, boop, boop.
So that means payday off on Monday for.
A week.
But yes, any specific plans for Family Day?
Yeah, so it's Family Day, as Mary mentioned. So because of that, people who are in school and post-secondary, it is our reading week. People who have jobs, they get a time off and paid.
Paid off.
Per. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to the cottage with my man for a long week getaway. I need it.
You deserve it, fam.
Thanks, girl.
I hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you. And what about you? What are you doing?
Honestly, I'm gonna have my family come over, all my brothers, all my nieces, get to see my nieces, my girls. Yeah. And we just gonna chill, honestly. Okay. Yeah, we always just have like a chill night, maybe play some games, shit like that. Okay. But most importantly, gonna sleep in on Monday. That's all that I've been looking forward to.
That's what matters the most.
Exactly.
Catch up on those Z's.
Yeah, exactly. But so since we are speaking about family, I did want to bring in a topic about your relationships with your family and how they can be toxic.
Yes.
Do you feel like you have toxic family members?
I feel like we all have toxic family members, right?
Exactly, yeah.
The rich, the poor, like toxicity has nothing to do with class, has nothing to do with race. It's something we can all relate to wholeheartedly. There are some toxic motherfuckers within our family.
They're super toxic, honestly. And sometimes it's so hard to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like because they're your family, you just want to give them the pass, It's just like, I just have to accept this because they're family. But I feel like that's not the case. Like, I feel like if you can't handle these type of situations with your toxic family members, then you need to cut them off.
So you feel like the end result is if you're dealing with a toxic family member, you need to just cut them off?
I feel like if it's really affecting your mental health to the point where you can't even live like properly in the way you want to, you need to cut them off still, because it's just negativity being brought into your life without your choice, even though your family, maybe you do like a no contact for a certain amount of time where they can grow and you guys see how your relationship is separately and where you can grow as well, maybe rekindle at a later date. But I don't know, I do feel like you have to get away from them still.
Gee, so let's narrow it down, okay? Because I feel like we have different people who play the toxic role.
Of course, yeah.
So just answer yes or no. I'm going to list a couple of family and relatives cut off and I want yes or no, okay?
Okay.
Mother cut off.
Ooh. I love my mom down.
Generally speaking, though, cut off.
Yeah,
yes
cut
or
off.
No?
For me, it's regardless of the family status.
Oh, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Mother, father, cousin, brother, doesn't matter. Auntie, uncle.
Yeah. I gotta put me first, Lucius.
Everybody, I get cut off.
Cut off quick. Ooh. What about you?
I feel like it does depend on the family member because I'm gonna bring it back to God, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Bring it back to God, but in the Bible it does say honor your mother and father for your days may be longer and all this. I don't know the full thing.
Yeah. Don't worry.
But
Pastor Archie.
What I will say is, with our parents, they have struggled severely in their own childhood to make them a toxic individual today.
Yeah.
And like I tell my mom and my friends and just anybody who's open to listening is that there is no handbook on how to be a good parent. Your parent is still learning the rules, the guidelines. They're still adjusting to, especially because we have immigrant parents, right?
Yeah, of course.
So to be more specific, like they're still adjusting to the rules of the West and how we adjust to certain things. And they're used to a certain upbringing that basically says, if I'm telling you something, you're doing it, no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
They don't believe in mental health. They don't believe that they're suffering from any sort of trauma. They don't believe in therapy. They don't want to hear any of that. They just feel like if I'm traumatizing you in any shape, way, or form, that's your business, sweetie.
Exactly.
I'm being a parent. You're getting traumatized. You got to take that up with somebody who can understand what that means.
But it's fucked up though. Because yeah. Because like, I feel like you get to a certain age where, of course, I understand that completely, because, fam, I've been going through years of struggle with the family.
Of course.
You know how it goes as an immigrant child. But I feel like once you get to a certain age, you do have these conversations with your family members or your parents specifically about how they can change their ways, you know? And I feel like if they don't take the initiative to try and change their ways for the benefit of the relationship with them, with their kid, it just seems like they don't care. Even though I know that that's not what they're trying to portray, but it just seems like if you're not willing to change, you don't give a fuck about me, because I'm telling you how I need you to love me, basically, you know? And as your kid, that's also difficult to talk to your parents about, because like you said, as like with African parents, that's a lick quick. It's like, who are you disrespecting, you know? So it's like, I already took all this time, gathered myself, brought you to this, and then it's just like, it's a slap in the face.
Yeah.
So I feel like it depends on the person. If you're not able to take that, how your parents love you or how they treat you or how they've raised you or continue to raise you, I feel like it depends on the person to see if you're able to accept that or not. And some people are not able to accept it, so that's why they have to go no contact, you know?
Do you feel like those people are mentally weak?
No, I don't think so. I think they're just doing what's best for them.
And what experience has taught them what's best for them?
Interesting question.
Let's take that back. A second, because I have something to say.
No, because I think people know what they need. So experiences maybe with their friendships that they've had, or different type of relationships, or even just experiences with other family members, you know, because it's probably not every family member. So they know exactly what they need. And if their parent is not giving them that and they let them know that they need that, then I don't know. You got to put yourself first.
How I feel about it is you should always put yourself first. That's 100%. But because we live in the West, we don't understand that a lot of our days to days are ran by a political agenda. And the government wants us to believe that a lot of the hardships we face are not supposed to be life we need to succumb to therapy. And I do believe that to a certain degree. It's always better to know what's happening to your body, so things are just not happening to you, but you understand that they're happening for you. And that's how I interpret life. And because we do believe in God, I believe that we're not necessarily put in any challenging situation that we're not supposed to have in our lives. I don't feel like anything is by coincidence. So I feel like our parents approaching things a certain way, and us being born in Canada and having to learn how to tolerate this and going into the world. I feel like it's supposed to grow us, and we're supposed to learn certain things from the situation, because we also lack the empathy for our parents. It's extremely hard to go through life, dealing with life for how many years until you finally arrive to a new country and you have to adopt to a different culture and raise your kid that way. A lot of our parents are struggling. A lot of our parents are crying. A lot of our parents are going through their own secret hardships that they don't even want to address to their children. So the last thing I feel like they want to hear in return is, you feel like I'm traumatizing you.
Yeah, but then at that point, I understand completely, but just to play devil's advocate, at that point, you're putting your parents' life and mental health in front of yours. And it's like, if you are already dealing with so much mental health issues, then it's just like, it's just adding on top of the pile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I understand you have to have grace for your parents, all the things that they went through. And like you said, they're probably dealing with toxic relationships, like from their family members that they had previously, you know, especially like as immigrant children. They just came to a new country, probably didn't have time to say bye to their family, develop a relationship, or but I don't know. I feel like it's the same thing. Once you reach a certain age, if I'm an adult, you're an adult, you've been in this country long enough, and I understand maybe you didn't have the tools to know how to raise us specifically, which is completely understandable. But now if I'm an adult and I'm coming to you and I'm giving you the tools and I'm saying, this is what you can do to better our relationship. This is what you can do to better raise, if you have younger siblings, to raise them differently than you raised me, you know? And they're not trying to accept that. I feel like it's a little bit laziness on their part.
I wouldn't say it's laziness, but our immigrant parents have already established that there's a hierarchy between them and their kids. So it's like, even if they're going to get the work done and they're going to understand that there are certain boundaries, it's not going to be a word that they're going to hear from you. They already have a mindset about how they should be treating their children and what they should be objectifying their children to. So it's like, you being the source of change, it's going to be like, why would I listen to you on how to change?
No, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Because they look at us as inferior.
Exactly.
But it's like, yo, I understand I'm not your age mates, but I'm trying to help you and I'm trying to help us together, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like it just sucks, to be honest. It's tough being an immigrant child still.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, child, you go through it, but I just feel like you should continue to try, because maybe one day they'll be able to accept it and do the things that you're saying to them to do. But if not, and you're not able to handle it, then you got to do what you got to do. If you feel like that's not contacting your family, if you feel like that's only contacting them on certain different occasions, then that's what you got to do. Not everybody has that close relationship that with their family, or yearning for that close relationship that they want with their family.
Yeah, that's a good point, honestly. And mentioning that, I feel like that's exactly what you need to do, as Mary kind of like suggested. You need to set boundaries.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Don't look at what should and should not take place. First, take the approach as, let me first give empathy to my parent. How does my parent receive me? Because our parents are just not like these traumatizing abusers.
No, I don't want to make it seem like that too.
They're just not like straight animals. They can't understand.
No, not at all.
You're talking to them and it's just like, nah, nah, nah. Like, like they're barbarians. They have no clue what's going on. It's
no, not at all. But I think vocabulary has a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah, like choose selective wording.
Yeah. If
your parent receives information a certain way, talk to them on that level. And if you're old enough to the point where you can pay rent and you can take the risk, and you can understand that there may be a severe consequence of you doing this, accept those things, because you never want to tarnish your self-identity for anything, not even your parents.
Exactly. And
let them know your boundaries. Like, mom, dad, I love you guys, but I don't want to be spoken to in this way. And if you feel like your parent can't change and do a 360 in the way that you need, well, 360 would be coming right back to yourself. 180. Yeah. If you feel like your parent can't do the 180 into what you need, then you need to be like, hey, I love you, but I'm only going to tolerate this for so long. We can still have a relationship, but you're going to have to see me at the door.
Exactly. And the most unfortunate part is I hate for it to get to that point, because then I feel like then your parents will be like, oh man, it was time for me to change,
Yeah.
And then 100%. Already the relationship is severed. Like, it's difficult to get back to that point that you guys were once at,
Yeah, 100%. And
it's
the risk. It's like, it's the gamble decision making, right? It's either like, do I confront this with the risk of losing my parent because they don't approach this well? Or is it like, do I just hug this and give myself more self-depleting energy from the gaslighting and whatever?
Yeah, exactly. You got to weigh your pros and cons.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but if you are a parent out there, just try and hear your child out, because you'll be helping yourself and you'll be helping them. And life will just be easier, honestly.
100%.
Sometimes you just got to put your pride aside just a little.
Yup.
Yeah.
And just going into that, the reason why you really need to put your pride aside, especially when it comes to your kids, if you want to raise kids in the West and you're coming from a different country, you have to realize the things we're being taught here is that everything our parents have told us is who we are, essentially.
Yeah.
Even though that's not considerably true.
Yeah.
So because of that, when you're talking to a child, remember that the voice you give your child will become their inner voice as adults.
It's conditioning.
Exactly. You're subjectifying them to having to deal with situations the way you do. And that's not always conductive at the end of the day.
No, exactly. Because when that child turns into a teenager and they turn into an adult and they switch that up on their parents and act how the parent acted towards the child, and now they're acting like that towards their parent, it's an issue.
Exactly.
But it's like, you raised me like this.
Yup.
What goes around comes around still.
Exactly. So I feel like with that, it's like how you want to be perceived as an adult in your real life. Treat your child like that, because that's how your child is going to perceive you as an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I just feel like a lot of people, when they become parents, they just want the baby. They don't really realize they're raising like a person, a human being.
Yeah, so just to close off that statement, like you said, they need to realize that they're not raising a teenager. Your child is going to grow up, and we need to stop giving our children not unconditional. That's what you should be giving your child.
Exactly.
You need to stop loving your child with conditions.
Yes, exactly.
Stop sculpting them into something that you want, because not every child can meet those expectations. Then you're going to end up raising a people pleaser, a person who always has low confidence, a person who doesn't feel safe and comfortable being outside because their inner voice is the things that you've told them, and it's all negative.
Yeah. It's sad still. And I feel like also when the child grows up and they don't address that, it's just a cycle that continues to happen. Like when they become a parent, they also condition their child to act the same way that they were raised to act,
Exactly. And that's what we call a generational curse for some people.
Yeah.
Have the oculist mindset. That's a generational curse. And in the West, what would you call that? I guess just a karmic penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but that shit stops here, fam. That shit stops at our generation.
It stops here, yes. And we will have another episode that goes into more detail on how to heal from these things.
Exactly.
And how you can outgrow these types of situations. But we just wanted to bring it to your attention that these are things that we have observed in our own experience.
Yeah.
The pros and the cons of that. And then we will get into a healing episode on how to actually take those situations and not internalize them into your adult life.
Exactly. Because we've been doing the work, you know, so we definitely do want to share that with you guys.
100%.
Yeah, but to tie that into our advice segment, say it with your chest, we did put up a poll on Instagram, y'all, for our advice segment, and we did get a couple questions. But for this episode, we will be answering one question. And I feel like we did get a question which kind of ties into our topic of toxic families and putting yourself first.
Yes.
So we do have a question here that does say, how do you put yourself first in every type of situation?
How do you put yourself first in every type of situation?
Yeah. Do you feel like it's selfish for you to put yourself first?
You cannot put, well, you can. Okay. Let's get into it.
Because personally, I feel like a lot of the times I used to not put myself first, but now I put myself first. Like, I don't care how I'm perceived anymore, even though sometimes it's perceived as selfish. But I gotta be selfish. It's me, myself, and I. Like, what did Beyonce say? But yeah, it is difficult sometimes because sometimes you do play that self-sacrificing role where you're like, it's okay, I'll just be on the back burner for this one. But me, personally, I think it's situational.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like I feel like it depends on the situation. Like, for example, if I got work tomorrow morning and we want to go out, sorry guys, I'm in bed.
So what happened yesterday at Galentine's Day?
Okay,
Okay. Because the girls know.
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, like on a night out, you know, when we're going out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because we'll come home mad late, you know.
But the main point.
Yeah, but the main point is how to put yourself first. Honestly, I feel like sometimes we think about it too much. We overthink it. I feel like in any situation, like we said, weigh your pros and cons. And if you feel like you have to put yourself first, then do it.
Yes, exactly. Mary hit it right on the nail, honestly.
Yeah.
You have to weigh your pros and cons because in this life, guess what? People are just prone to thinking that being the follower means that you're not the leader. But guess what? The follower makes who the leader is.
Yeah, exactly. There would be no leader without followers.
Exactly. So sometimes you need to know when to be a leader and when to be a follower. Sometimes your intuition is telling you, hey, like right now, I feel like this person is telling me facts, but they're ruling me. But if them ruling you is the best advice and you have no expertise on what can be better, then that means you need to follow.
Yeah, fall back a little bit.
Exactly.
I feel like it goes back to being prideful still because some people want to make it seem like they know everything in the book, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And if you put yourself on the back burner, it's like, ooh, what am I? I'm nobody still.
You cannot let ego get in the way of that.
Yes.
And I read something about that in the Bible actually that said, show your weakness. Showing your weakness is a way of showing God's grace. And what that basically means is like sometimes letting your ego down and not talking on a situation that you could, or not being so overly involved in certain things, not arguing all the time with a person when you know you have the right option, that's a sign of showing weakness.
Yeah.
And people interpret weakness as like inferiority. But sometimes if you just show your weakness by walking away from things that serve no higher purpose for you, guess what? You're showing God's grace. You're showing that you're bigger than the actual situation.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I think it is all about ego because I feel like some people also think if you are showing that weakness or like quote unquote showing that you are inferior, it's like there's more room for disrespect there.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like you just have to be the bigger person sometimes because some people don't understand it from the perspective that we look at it, you know?
Yes, 100%. And I'll bring in like a personal example because this was like broadcasted on my Instagram. So I posted a picture, of course, on Valentine's Day. Y'all make sure to go follow us.
Yes, go follow us on Instagram.
Yes, I just feel like, and like has 2 E's. Okay.
Podcast, right?
Yeah, our podcast page and our main pages are on that. So you guys
you'll
can
see it there.
Follow from there. But yeah, so on my Instagram page, I uploaded a baddie pic, you know, super bad.
All the pics are you being bad, fam.
Rate it. But a family friend of mine who's obviously not cultured from the West completely commented and said, oh, I see somebody's gaining weight, fam, or some shit like that.
Bugging.
So I read this comment, and if you've known me in the past, you just know, like, yo, Ramona's gonna go buck if you read some shit like this, you know?
My tip.
Yes, because that would be me putting myself first, thinking that I need to automatically defend myself.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I analyzed the situation for a long time. I called you.
Yeah.
I called Cody. I had some, like, sit down conversations with some family members on, like, how I should approach the situation.
Yeah.
But the final result was, for this person to come at me from this angle and think that this is okay, there's something deeply going on with this person.
Yeah, exactly. Fam, like I say, everything is a projection, bro.
It's a projection.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to put ego down, and that's why you can't always be first. Me being first in that situation would be cussing this man. But instead what I responded was, God bless. And I was fortunate enough to have the people who love me say something in a sarcastic banter, but still be positive at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because we're still not taking that still.
Yeah. You still don't need to take that, but you still need to show the person that it's like, what you're saying does not affect my inner child. And we're going to get into that.
Oh, yes. We need to get into that.
Yes.
A different pod. But yeah, honestly, sometimes you do just have to hug it because everybody is projecting their insecurities on other people.
Yes.
I just feel like the most important thing is not to take things personally. I feel like that's a life of peace. You're protecting your energy and just allow them to say whatever they want to say still. Like,
Yeah,
if that's how you feel, that's how you feel on the inside. I'm so sorry to tell you, maybe you don't know, but maybe you're insecure and maybe you need to heal that and, you know, figure that out. But don't bring that onto our Instagram pages or whatever, into our faces, you know?
Yeah, 100%. It's like you need to first heal before you can really speak on another person. And actually, bitch, let's get a little bit more deep.
Okay.
Just with something short, you know? But I personally do feel like a lot of us feel like we need to run to defend ourselves at all times. And this could also be a negative, like I mentioned, because we automatically, especially as females, our intuition can be positive and lead us into the right direction. But sometimes our intuition leads us into overthinking where we end up doing something outlandish.
Fam, that is so true. And honestly, that's something I kind of been struggling with recently. So I just been praying. I'm like, yo, God, please, like, I'm praying for discernment. Like, I just need to know if this is actually my intuition or if I'm overthinking the situation, you know, and it's not exactly what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, you need to know if it's like your perceived reality or is it real reality?
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I think it's important to take things at face value and just not make assumptions about anything.
Yes.
It's just like, if that's what it is, that's what you said, then that's what it is. That's what I'm taking it for, you know?
Yeah.
But to just think about everything else and like other things that can factor into it, it's just going to give you stress upon stress.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Mary's absolutely right about that. If you start to overthink every single situation, like, why am I on Instagram and this other person's on Instagram and they're not texting me?
Yeah.
Or how come I'm with this person and they're looking at me a certain way? How come I'm chilling with this person and they're posting a picture of one individual and everybody else is there? This is how my mind used to race, fam.
Yeah, I hear you.
I used to be overthinking every little thing. And I'm like, how do I put myself first in these situations where it seems like clear disrespect?
Yeah, I feel you.
Now I feel like it's about choosing your battles, what's worth it and what's not. Because if somebody is actually intentionally hurting you, believe me, the hurt that they're facing is worse than you even receiving this type of output.
Yeah, exactly. It's all insecurities. It's all projections. And I just have to say I'm praying for them. But like I was saying, yes, we've been there before. So I do just want everybody to realize that it's all inner work that we have to do because we're just fucking each other up. Like, we don't have to live like this as people in our society. So if everybody realizes that they have these insecurities and try to work with them, and maybe you can work with them with your family members that aren't toxic, or with your friends, or even just by yourself, you know, watching videos on YouTube, it'll be a better world to live in.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And we're going to be speaking more about this on the 3rd episode, about how to help with overthinking, dealing with trauma from family, because we just wanted to bring it to light about mental health, to be honest.
Exactly, because it's super important, honestly.
Yeah.
That's how we have to function in this world.
100%.
But yeah, so we'll definitely talk more about it because we talk about this all the time.
100%. So you guys look forward to episode 3, which is leading into healing and how to uncover these hidden traumas that you may be dealing with, and maybe you can relate to us as well.
Exactly. And I think let's just wrap it up, fam. This was a
Yeah.
pretty good episode. Thank you for the person that sent in their question. Like we said, the Say It With Your Chest segment is an advice segment. So look on our social medias and send in your questions and story times. And thank you guys for tuning in to the I Just Feel Like podcast.
Yes, make sure you guys follow us on all of our handles. You can follow us on Instagram at I Just Feel Like Podcast. Remember that the like has 2 E's.
Same name for TikTok as well. I Just Feel Like podcast, 2 E's.
Amazing. And then you can also watch us on YouTube every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And it's also I Just Feel Like Podcast.
And we're on every podcast platform as well. So you can catch us Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you got.
And if you still need further information, follow the link on our Instagram, and it should lead to our email.
Yeah, exactly.
If you would like to email us any of your questions because you don't feel comfortable maybe posting it on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, you can hit us up any way you can, honestly. Just hit us up.
We're always happy to talk to you guys.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And you've just watched I Just Feel Like.
I'm Mary.
I'm Ramona.
And see you guys next week.
We out.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.